Hey guys, welcome everybody to a new video. I'm your host from Crypto Basket. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Now, if you guys are new to my channel, make sure, like always, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to like the video if you really like my content. With that being said, let's start today's video. This March 16th, an intriguing tweet which is brought to us by none other than Balaji Srinivasan, a renowned investor, entrepreneur, author, intellectual, and a fervent supporter of Bitcoin's future potential. Some might even dub him as the Bitcoin Minotaur. Notably, Balaji previously served as the inaugural CTO of Coinbase, having joined the cryptocurrency exchange after it acquired his firm, earn.com, in 2018. After studying both electrical and chemical engineering at Stanford University, Balaji Srinivasan kickstarted his financial success by constructing and vending a genetic testing company. He later moved on to becoming a general partner at the mega VC firm Andreessen Horowitz. Along the way, he invested in numerous technology companies and crypto projects. Last year, he published The Network State, a book that details his concept for perspective society. All in all, Balaji is an exceptionally intelligent, assertive, and well-respected individual who has amassed substantial wealth. A noteworthy piece of information to share is that Balaji Srinivasan's most recent appearance on the Lex Fridman podcast lasted nearly 8 hours. So it's safe to say that they didn't fill that time with just casual small talks. But despite that, the interview is still highly recommended to listen to. So recently you may have observed that the banking industry in the United States have been experiencing some significant turmoil, to put it mildly. It's no coincidence that the 3 banks that have recently gone bankrupt are all supportive of cryptocurrencies. In response, US regulators led by the Federal Reserve to intervene by providing financial aid to mitigate the situation from worsening. Although the banking troubles are primarily affecting the US, they have also extended to Europe. Recently, Credit Suisse had to be rescued by the Swiss government and subsequently bought out by its competitor UBS. Despite this acquisition, there are still worries that the crisis could spill over to the other banks in the various nations. As saying goes, when the tide goes out, it exposes what's hidden beneath the surface. And unfortunately, the global banking system has been stripped bare and revealed to be alarmingly vulnerable. To summarize, the increase in inflation has caused a corresponding rise in interest rates, which in turn has diminished the value of bonds that banks acquire through their customers' assets. So as a result, his last sparked bank runs when clients are hastily withdrawn their money due to the awareness that the bank do not have adequate reserves to cover all the deposits. The feeling of fear can spiral out of control and causing a collapse of the entire system. To avoid the disastrous outcome, central banks such as the Federal Reserve are resorting to printing more money to sustain the banks. Of course, there are many intricacies and complexities involved, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm providing a straightforward explanation to spare us all from feeling overwhelmed. In the essence, the influx of money into the economy results in an upsurge in the inflation, and that is where Balaji's perspectives comes into play. Essentially, he has anticipated this surge in money supply will trigger hyperinflation, characterized by heaps of money being transported in wheelbarrows, societal breakdown, and other distressing circumstances. His conviction is so strong that he decided to back his belief by investing his own money in it. So when a Twitter user going by the name of James Madlock tweeted, I'll bet anyone $1 million that the US does not enter hyperinflation. Balaji replied, I will take that bet. You buy 1 BTC. I will send 1 million USD. This is around 40 to 1 odds, as you know, 1 BTC is worth around like 26 to like 28,000 at this time, and the term is 90 days. So it's easy to imagine the anticipation that must have been, coursing through Balaji's veins as he hit the send button on his tweet. He likely sat there, fingers crossed, waiting for tweet to erupt in response to his bold statement, and he wasn't disappointed. As it turns out, Balaji is putting out a staggering $2 million on a bet that Bitcoin will surge over like 3,500% before June 17th, reaching an astronomical price of $1 million per coin. This would result in a market cap of Bitcoin nearly $20 trillion, far surpassing the current market cap of the entire crypto market, which stands at just over $1 trillion. It's a classic example of what's known as pump, an attempt to artificially inflate the value of an asset through hype and speculation. According to Balaji, if Bitcoin reaches a price of $1 million per coin, it would result in hyperinflation, hyper-Bitcoinization, sorry for that. And this means that the value of the dollar as well as the fiat currencies would diminish completely into the inflation. So in such scenarios, the world would turn to Bitcoin, as it is the only currency that cannot be influenced or devalued by the central bankers or politicians. So it is also a currency that cannot be controlled by any single entity, making it a true form of decentralized and trustless value transfer and storage. If Bitcoin were to reach such heights, it would be realization of Satoshi's vision. Michael Saylor would become the president and Bitcoin would become the world's dominant currency. So the excitement and validation would be overwhelming, and those who have been accumulating Bitcoin for years would have, breathed a sigh of relief. So, however, some may still complain about not buying it earlier than earlier today. Balaji addressed some of the key points in his words in another tweet. He concluded his rebuttal of a number of questions. Thus, if Fed does what they have said and prints money to infinity to ensure that every withdrawal goes through, then they are doing a stealth monetization of the debt. And then the basic question is, what succeeds the dollar? Because USD is no longer too big to fail. And when it fails, the unfortunate alternative for us would be RMB, getting enough people into Bitcoin to avoid both the digital devaluation of the dollar and the dominance of an unleashed China is the ideal long-term impact that give us a long-term chance to protect freedom. So in short, if the money printer is turned back on, it will lead to inflation and devalue the dollar. The Chinese yuan may be the only national currency capable of taking its place, but it is not desirable to live in a world where Chinese Communist Party is in control. So Bitcoin provides a solution of this problem. However, it is unlikely that Bitcoin will reach $1 million per coin by the mid-June, even though Balaji is not an average techie, predicting massive pumps. The world is not ready for such a drastic change, and if it were to happen, the consequences would be dire. The global banking system is flawed, and the dollar days as the world reserve currency are numbered. So the fiat currencies are also vulnerable to government control and manipulation. And Bitcoin potential is yet to be fully realized, and it is still unknown to many. However, it is unlikely that such a drastic change will occur in just 3 months. Central banks, including the Fed, will take necessary measures to prop up the banking sector. While there is a possibility that money printers may start rolling again, and of course an consequence of 22nd March Fed meeting. Cryptocurrencies falls as investors weigh the Fed's latest rate decision, which slides Bitcoin down around like 25,000. Essentially, Balaji's bet on Bitcoin reaching $1 million by the mid-June is unlikely to come to fruition, despite the recent surge in the price while the bull market may have returned. So it is doubtful that the enough inflow will materialize to push BTC to such astronomical heights. However, it's possible that the Balaji audacious bet was made to draw attention to the future of Bitcoin as a superior alternative to the fiat currencies. So, as the former CTO of Coinbase, Balaji is likely a large BTC holder, so his bet may have served to increase the value of his holdings. It's also possible that the wondering of the bets was meant to highlight the potential of hyperinflation rather than hyper-Bitcoinization. So regardless, Balaji's bet helps to draw attention to the fragility of the current financial system and the looming choice between government-controlled digital currencies or decentralized currencies like Bitcoin. Although the likelihood of a complete financial meltdown is still in future, it's inevitable that it will come to some point. At the time, people will face what a stark choice between the government issues, digital currencies, and Bitcoin. For many, the answer is clear. Bitcoin offers great freedom and control over their finances. And with that being said, I will see you guys in my next video.